I think that we need to try and face one inalienable fact, which is that we've been a very spoilt country for a very long time. Like, if you want anything in Britain, you can get it. Provided you've got the money in your bank, you can get it. You can just walk into a shop and you can have it, and you don't need to fill out no papers. You very rarely need to queue these days. You can just go out and get it. And here's the thing, is that what if those things weren't there? What if you wanted something and you were unable to obtain it for whatever reason? You know, like, here's the thing. When I was younger, my mum didn't drive. My stepmum drove, but my dad lived a long way away in a place called Sheffield, and I grew up in a small Cornish town. So we didn't really need to drive, except if we ever wanted to go to Plymouth, which was normally most weekends, and my nan lived like the exact other side of Plymouth. Long story. Anyway, we didn't drive, and we just got by without a car. And my mum wasn't in any particular rush to get a car. I didn't really know what I was missing. School was a 10-minute walk away. Shops were about a 5 to 10 minute walk away. There's a local park. Life was fine. We didn't have that crushing need for a car. We just never had it. We just never needed it. And not just that, but when I was growing up, my mum was a single mum living in Cornwall, which, despite what you would see on the television, places that aren't Padstow are actually really poor. Poorest part of Europe, in fact. And I was growing up there in a single parent family in the late 80s. And so sometimes you'd see some things in a shop and you would want it. And my mum never thought to take the time to say, oh, we're poor, we can't afford it. She would always just say, not now. You know, and so I would say that to a large extent I didn't grow up spoiled. Well, my mum did always get me whatever I wanted. Like, if I asked for something, she would get it, but it was usually like a request for a small thing. A copy of the Beano I used to have every week, that was my treat. And I think that we've just kind of like, now, if I want, if I want a new mobile phone, or if I want a pair of trainers, I can just go into a shop and get it. It's not that difficult. What if I couldn't though? What if I couldn't? Well, you know, from going without when I was younger, I learned that I'm able to go without. That there are some things that you need and there are some things that you want. If I was to go to the shops and there wasn't a particular food that I would wanted to eat, I would purchase a different kind of food. So separating a need from a want. I need to eat. I want that particular type of food. It's not there. Be dynamic, change, adapt. Change and adapt to the situation. Go without. Like, I know this seems like a really, really awkward concept to explain to people, but if what you want isn't available, learn to go without. It's not the end of the world. Ask yourself if you actually need it. Do you need it? Or are you just or is it a want that you're trying to convince yourself that you need? You know, like, think about it this way. During the pandemic, in the first part of the pandemic, we realised what we needed, not what we wanted. We wanted a foreign holiday. We wanted to go somewhere where none of the nonsense was happening. That's what we wanted. What we needed was to make it through. We needed food, we needed to exercise, we needed to work on whatever it is that we worked on during that time. That's what we needed. Separating need from want. And so here's the thing, if you can't get hold of something, it's not the biggest drama in the world to go without. You know, we all talk about climate change and oh, we all want to do something about it. You ever thought of just buying less when you were at the supermarket? I mean, seems simple. You ever thought about not buying that phone that's made in China, that's chucking God knows how many tons of CO2 into the atmosphere? Give it a miss. You ever thought of not buying those trainers that come from halfway around the world, built in a sweatshop, or made in a sweatshop, I should say, from again a country that's probably polluting the hell just to make them? Do you need it? Go without. It's not a struggle. It's actually fairly simple. I used to do it all the time when I was younger, and came from my dad wasn't particularly well off, and my mum was always skint. We went without. You can go without. You can have these little times in life where you're not going to be able to get exactly what you want. And when somebody does throw a tantrum because they can't get exactly what they want, do you know what we used to call that? Spoiled.